Mrs. Green Apple, we are continuing our track by track listen through to the Antenna album, and that brings us on to this. Can you believe we are already on track 6? I will say we've got a little bit of a helping launch onto track 6 by the fact that track 5 was Que Sera Sera, a song I had reacted to previously. I really like that song. Big favourite of mine. But yeah, we have Blizzard as well, which was an interesting one. I've got to be honest, check out my reaction if you want to know my thoughts on that. But that one kind of left me a bit perplexed. I'm looking forward to, at the time of recording this, that reaction hasn't been posted on my channel yet. So I don't know what you guys are going to think of my reaction to that. But I'm very interested to see what you think. And of course we had I'm Invincible, Magic. These are two really strong songs. Antenna was a great kickstart to the album. Even if it's not my favourite Mrs. Green Apple song, I thought it was a really good opening track. So as a general, this album has been crazy strong with one possible exception. So no idea what to expect from this. Sarangi, again, is one of the songs that has a music video, which, although there are 5 songs on here that appear to have music videos, this one has a lyric video, but we've seen lyric videos from Mrs. Green Apple before that might as well have been music videos. But considering this is a 13-track album where only 5 of them have music videos, that's such a big change from Attitude where everything was a music video. So let's jump in with this one. Sarangi, no idea what to expect once again, but this is an album that has been serving up some really great stuff. So I'm just hoping we get more of that. Anyway, do you know what? I've scrolled down for so long setting this up that I forgot that this was the opening frame. So just scrolling up, it's like, oh yes, that's a very intense first frame. So I don't know which direction it's going to go in, but that is an intense first frame. I feel like you're just going to look up and stare. So let's let's see what happens next. This is Sarangi from Antenna by Mrs. Green Apple. Let's go. That's not what I expected. Slow and dramatic intro, but again, all those usual tones that we're used to enjoying from them.
咲けどいつの間にかすぐそばにあることを忘れて今日も浮かんでます思い出は歩いてきたから This is definitely
the Mrs. Green Apple. We're gonna do a big single kind of mode. Subtle cellos, little sounds everywhere, prepping for that big blast. How the strings slide down there. Yeah! That was so well signposted. I'm getting very used to the Mrs. Green Apple style arrangements for these big ballad songs now. I feel like I can read his mind. No, that I didn't expect. It's quite a solid mid-tempo beat there. I thought it'd go half-time. Notice how you're starting to get all these little quick sounds. Even that electric hat. Little quick bits just coming in between the beat of the rhythm. Like that. Little pizzicato strings. Everything's just slowly building up in tempo. All these little quicker sounds are appearing to thicken things up, and then he loves these choruses that start on the drum roll, doesn't he? I like the backing vocals. Feel like we're still waiting for it to drop in. That little 4 times on the kick drum. That's a cool touch. Religious symbolism. Teaching how the snare hasn't fallen into a second beat. Still very much on the first beat. Like a military march. That little chord walk down there is beautiful. Oh, it is. Now the snare comes in. I mean, dropping into the beat rather than just rolling. That's interesting. That's an interesting arrangement choice. Again. He knows when to use the left hand of the piano, go down through those deep notes. Although it appeared to be a woman playing, but still. He wrote it, he knows what I mean. 10 seconds of silence? No, 10 seconds of record company. There you go. Well, good job. Thank you very much. Alright, let's leave it on that. I like to leave a little frame so we can talk with something, either credits or something, so that we know what we're talking about up top. That was... Do you know what? That was one of those songs that it fits into this kind of really cool place where when I talk about it, you know, I have a smile on my face after hearing this song because it's got this quintessentially big, joyous, atmospheric, and yet delicately layered quality that is so Mrs. Green Apple. And the result is something that you can't help but smile at. It's uplifting, it's charming, it's well layered, it's got a nice timbre, which results in a song that just feels warm and comfortable to listen to. However, you know, I'm always honest on this channel. I've got to be fair and say that although I want to heap praise on this, and I'm going to give it a lot of praise, I will go back to that thing I do occasionally say. From a songwriting point, we're talking here melody and chords, this was very much in his safe space. This was a song that definitely chord structure-wise and melody-wise, very familiar. He's done a lot of these chord patterns and melodies on previous songs, you know. So on that side, you know, this is definitely in the safe central territory for you know, just Mrs. Green Apple as a general, actually. However, what I really enjoy is that he always is looking to give each song its sense of purpose. And although I do have to pick on that central writing factor, what is interesting is just the way that he laid up so many other things. Now, as I pointed out, given that this for me is a song that is more a celebration of the Mrs. Green Apple sound than an attempt to challenge or expand it, it was pretty easy to see what was coming at each point, for the best part. But he still managed to throw in some things that were either small surprises or just very satisfying moments. I really enjoyed the way that the strings felt very alive here. Mrs. Green Apple have used synthesized strings in previous songs, nothing against that. But here you can really hear that the usage of proper full strings. I think there was a cello in there, maybe some violas. I'm really bad at recognizing string sounds, apologies. But the use of like real strings in here really added a lot, because in those quite subtle verses there was a lot of expression being carried by the interplay between his vocal and the string section, the way that both of them were kind of holding and letting notes dissipate, and the pressure at which each note was expressed between the two of them. That gave the verses a lot of life. And this was something which kind of flowed throughout the song, because the song didn't really ever come in with like a big beat. I always felt when that drum roll, that sort of military drum roll that he loves putting in some of his choruses so much, when that came up, I was thinking, okay, is this going to be something where we get the drum roll and suddenly it lands and, oh, here's the big celebratory crescendo or second half of the chorus or something like that. And actually, I have a lot of respect for the fact that he completely held off on that. That didn't come in. This song didn't do that. Instead, it just kind of stuck to this very calm feeling. It was still atmospheric, and it was still, more than anything, it still very much sounded big. You know, you had the big backing vocals. Again, the strings were in there. The vocal did have a big kind of celebratory feeling to it. It felt like a glorious, passionate song, but it never felt the need to come in with a big drum beat and, if you like, do the stereotypical thing of, oh, here comes the song dropping in. It's like, no, it was a song which it was obviously centered around the idea that it wanted to be subtle, it wanted to be big, and yet at the same time quite gentle. And that, for me, is where it did end up landing. A song that felt big and kind of had that sort of glorious aspect to it, and yet never felt anything other than quite gentle and soft. The snare sound, when it did arrive, even in the snare rolls, was quite light. You know, quite a sharp sound, but quite lightly mixed. A little bit of reverb on there, not too loud in the mix, and it just kind of felt more like a gentle tapping sound. So for me, this song was mixed and arranged very much to have a, as I say, big, glorious, but gentle vibe, which is where it works. I do think that as a addition to the album, it's definitely very different from any of the songs that have come prior to it, which that's my first thing. I want every song on an album, where possible, to feel like it's got its own purpose, its own intention, its own sound. And second of all, I would say that it's a song that definitely gives a nice follow-up to Que Sera Sera, which is, I really enjoy that song. But this is quite a different turn. It does flow quite well out of Que Sera Sera, but it takes us in a different direction. So for me, this was a really enjoyable song. I definitely liked it. I don't think I would necessarily pick it as a go-to Mrs. Green Apple song, but it's also not a song that I would skip. It's one of those songs where I would say I would just kind of let it play out, and it's just going to make you feel good. What I'm about to say, I know with what I'm about to say how some people will react, but I would say this is the kind of song where it's probably worth just don't give it much thought, just kind of let it glide over you. It's very much a song that's alive in these very kind of visceral feelings. It's a gentle kind of song that just fills you with a warm feeling. But if you analyse it too much, you'll start noticing that maybe it is pulling a little bit too much from other Mrs. Green Apple songs. But if you just let it play, then it's absolutely fine. By the way, I know that when I say things like that, people go, "Oh, you shouldn't overthink music. You should just let everyone, just like what you like." I shouldn't have to point out why that's a misinterpretation of what the point I'm making, but people always say that. It's like, it's obvious that you should like what you like. But the point is that when we listen to music, the whole reason why I enjoy having these discussions and thinking about these things is because whether we like a song or dislike it or anywhere in between, understanding why we feel that way about music is what allows us to understand our own preferences and better inform our future choices, better find new music, and better explain to other people why they might like the music that we like. So I think it's very important to do that. So, I mean, for example, if it came to Sarangi, this is a song that I know I would enjoy if it came on the album. But if I had a friend who wanted to get into Mrs. Green Apple, this is not the song I would start them with, because I think they got other songs that do a similar thing better. However, in the context of it being that song on this album, yes, it's really good. It doesn't let you down. Really fits the bill very well. I enjoyed it. I know some people are also going to say how you should turn the lyrics on, because I bet this is a lyric-heavy song. But again, I did a whole video about why I haven't done that. So anyway, I really enjoyed this. This continues to be a really interesting journey. I would say so far this album. How do I feel about it? So the weird thing is, as much as, Attitude to me is an album that I have a very fond feeling towards, and it's got some absolutely brilliant songs on there that I love going back to. I would say so far, this album has had its weird moments. It's had like ups and downs and lefts and rights, but I would say this probably has a surprisingly high overall level of quality. Would I say that I expect this to be better than Attitude when I get to the end? I know, it's a bit different, but I feel like this is definitely giving Attitude a run for its money. I am really interested to know when I get to, because we're about halfway through now, when we get to the end of this album, I'm really interested to know which one I prefer, because at the moment, I don't think I could predict it. But this was cool. I really enjoyed this. So as always, get in the comments, tell me what you think, and until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these. For now, ciao ciao.